This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for the afternoon of June 13th, 2022, brought to you by That's Good HR. I'm Alex Brown. San Francisco-based Prologis has inked an agreement to acquire Duke Realty Corporation in Indianapolis in a $26 billion all-stock deal. Prologis Chief Investment Officer Eugene Riley says the firm has been impressed with Duke's efforts over the last several years.
Duke has done an impressive job over many years repositioning its business. And the company's history as one of the nation's best developers is now reflected in the quality of its assets and its locations.
The acquisition remains subject to shareholder approval and is expected to close in the fourth quarter. Nebraska-based Valmont Industries held a ribbon-cutting ceremony last week at its new $30 million plant in Elkhart County. The Elkhart Truth reports the 75,000 square foot facility in Bristol produces concrete utility poles and will eventually employ some 100 workers. Richmond-based Reed Health has broken ground on a 20,000 square foot healthcare facility in Franklin County. The health system says Reed Health Primary and Specialty Care Brookville, set to open next year, will have space for primary and specialty care as well as lab, radiology, and other services. Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand is made possible by the following.
With one call to That's Good HR, your hiring challenge is solved. It's that simple. That's Good HR is the secret ingredient to strategic staffing. Have an HR, accounting, administrative, or customer service position to fill? Trust That's Good HR to make a match that's good for everyone, whether temp to hire, or a direct hire placement. For 22 years, That's Good HR has been handpicking employees and employers through a highly personal and authentic approach that delivers long-term results. Visit that'sgoodhr.com. Remember, the match matters.
IBJ Media delivers business news covering Central Indiana and the entire state. The Indianapolis Business Journal and Inside Indiana Business are now part of the same family. Look to the IBJ for in-depth coverage of Central Indiana's business community, and tap into Inside Indiana Business for stories that extend throughout Indiana. 2 resources, unlimited business insights that help you stay informed and get ahead. Learn more at ibj.com and insideindianabusiness.com.
The pandemic caused the percentage of Indiana high school graduates pursuing college or other post-secondary training to fall by 6 percentage points to 53% in 2020. Here's Gary Dick.
The drop also marked an 18% decline from where it stood in 2015. The Indiana Commission for Higher Education said in its college readiness report released last week. The report shows that the previously incremental decline in the percentage of students going directly from high school to some form of college, from less than 1-year certificates through 4-year degrees, sped up in 2020, likely due to the impact of the pandemic. Over 5 years, the total decline was 12 percentage points. The decline in the college-going rate for 2020 from the previous school year meant about 4,000 fewer high school graduates went to college than the year before, that according to the report. The drop was absorbed almost entirely by the state's public colleges because nearly the same number of Indiana high school grads went to private or out-of-state schools as in the previous year. Higher Ed Commissioner Chris Lowry calls the decline alarming and says the state must look beyond the traditional approaches to education for both youth and adult learners. This is Gary Dick for Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Purdue University has received 2 donations it says will boost pharmaceutical studies and research at the West Lafayette campus and improve the manufacturing process for drugs emerging from biotechnology research. The university landed a gift to establish the William D. Young Institute for Advanced Manufacturing of Pharmaceuticals, which will focus on overhauling drug manufacturing with a goal of reducing costs and expanding access to innovative drugs. The Purdue College of Pharmacy also received a $6 million gift to establish a deanship at the college and an endowment fund. From escalating energy prices to a crisis in the food supply chain, the war in Ukraine continues to have widespread impact on the global economy. Former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations Agencies for Food and Agriculture, Kip Tom, is working daily to find solutions with private sector ag companies, and he believes Indiana can play a role.
For instance, nitrogen production. Nearly a third of the world's nitrogen that is exported comes out of Russia. Belarus is a producer of potassium. Those products we could get out of Canada. We can get nitrogen production start here in the United States, and hopefully here in Indiana, whether on the north coast on the Michigan coast or down on the Ohio River. But the reality is we have the potential to do it right here.
Tom admits it will take an all-hands-on-deck approach with private sector companies like Corteva, organizations like Agronovus Indiana, and state lawmakers selling Indiana as a place to do business to companies around the globe. This report is brought to you by That's Good HR, the secret ingredient to strategic staffing. Visit that'sgoodhr.com for more information. I'm Alex Brown for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.